You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today. I'll hold you close inside it.
Welcome to the Make It Today production video. Welcome, Alexander Frieden in the Zoom. What's going on? How are we feeling, bro?
What's up? I'm feeling so good.
We are so stoked how much you guys have loved this song, so we figured a production breakdown is so necessary because people love all of the special sauce that Alexander put on here. How do you feel about this song, Alexander?
This song was so much fun to work on because I feel like you came into it with this vision of trying to create this space, this world that's sort of like, it feels like a warm hug.
I think you met me right where I was when I brought this vision to you. I was not sure exactly how it should sound, but had so many different random ideas, and I think that's why there's so much contrast in it, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like it was interesting that like we knew what the song wanted to do and how we wanted it to make us feel, and you also had like a bunch of random ideas, like we should bring my keyboardist friend in, we should bring my trumpeter friend in. You had some interesting references, and I feel like a lot of what my work was for this process was figuring out how do we connect that with the like top-down vision of what we want this song to do to the audience emotionally. This is kind of how I arrange all of my sessions. You have all the vocals, you have all the instruments, and then the drums are down here, and you can see there's a lot of drums and a lot of instruments happening, and there's a bunch of vocals, but I think the drums were one of the most fun things to program in this track. Let's start at the very beginning.
I know what.
So it's really just a little bit of this ambience, which I believe this thing called cool.
Oh, that's sick.
I think I just reversed some reverb, maybe put some granular stuff on it.
Oh my
and
God.
Then there's, or that might actually just be my granular synthesizer. Yeah, this is kind of like the first sound we hear, and then of course there's, which is really sick.
That's
and
so
then
sweet.
to like lead into the beginning of the song, there's a little bit of space, a little bit of reverb.
I agree. It feels like it like chugs on. It's a perfect segue.
Then we have a guitar from Max that is kind of the next sound that we come in that signals, oh, here, we're in the verse. So let's go into verse 1 then. So as soon as the intro is done, the first thing that kind of signals the verse, that it comes from this sort of electronic synthetic place. Then immediately we hear this guitar that feels a little more grounded and organic that Max played.
Oh, that's so nice. That feels like I got you, you know?
Right. And that with this bass that's happening, which is actually a layer of the synth bass that I played on my keyboard here, on my
right
synthesizer.
there.
Which I can't get much higher because it's plugged in. And Simon played some bass too.
Yeah, we love that. A good Simon grown bass.
The Simon bass kind of has punchiness that I really like, and then the warmth of the synth bass really like creates the space in the bass.
Yeah, I love how you paired those.
There's some more guitar things that just add to the space. Yeah, then drum-wise for the song, everything is programmed.
Totally.
In the verse, we have a little pulse happening, but then also this hat that sort of brings in the idea of having a beat, which like if you listen to the whole verse, everything together,
I know what it's like to be whole.
There's not really much of a beat.
Darkness than ever before.
Until we get to here. But still, there's not much of a beat. But since we're about to get to a really hard-hitting drum-heavy part,
Close inside of this place.
I think it really adds a bit of foreshadowing in a cool way. The thing that was the final element that really made the verse feel finished was the vocal production. If we had just solo all the vocals,
I know what it's like to be hoping again in the midst of the rain. I know what it's like to be seen for the skin that you're barely living within. I know how it feels to be closer than ever before. I know there's a deep end, but it's far from the shore.
Yeah, so there's a different element of vocal production on every line. The first line is just you singing alone, which feels right, trying to ground us somewhere more real, coming from that intro that's just digital elements. Then the second line has these real harmonies.
What it's like to be seen for the skin that you bear.
And then the third line has this like kind of weird octave down.
I love that.
Oh, and also in the second line, who could forget? There's this little bouncy harmony, I called it. And then, of course, there's this vocal line. Which I think that was one of the moments where I felt like we're really being successful with that vision of like making it feel like the song is just reaching out. And then we get to this pre-chorus section, which I'll actually play.
There's peace when you come around, stand strong as the waters come down. So
it's hard to talk about this section without talking about what happens after it, because I think one of our challenges with this going into a chorus that hits as hard as, knowing that this was always the vision to have it really smack you at the chorus, we needed pre-chorus that really builds the tension and really provides contrast. One of the biggest weapons you have as a producer is contrast. There's not much in the ways of drums, a couple swells. There's this kind of really ratcheting up the tension. But besides that, there's not much drums, not much bass besides this one little.
Yeah, just a swell again.
The bass and drums all cut out, and it just goes to this wash of
far
instrumentation.
from the shore.
Oh, those strings are awesome too.
Yeah. These strings, I programmed them all. There's this little pizzicato that gives some movement to it. There's an arrangement that I just have like a bunch of doubles.
I love that.
There's something about strings that just brings it back for me. And then we have this Wurlitzer that I think also really adds the space. There's this, which is happening through the whole chorus, which just it's another element that adds to the space of everything.
Oh, I love that synth.
And then the last couple of moments before the chorus, we just have everything like kind of swelling forward.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard that sound.
This one.
Oh yeah, that's
And
sick.
then I reversed it and did some weird production stuff to it to make it it almost feels like a horn to me.
I agree.
Kind of like tells you something is happening without giving it away.
So I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it warm for you just in case.
And the vocal production on this chorus, it's kind of the opposite of, I think, what we went in thinking it was going to be. We were like, there's going to be like 50 harmonies. There's going to be a bunch of crazy things happening on the chorus. But we realized that it kind of hits harder to have it just like go from this big harmony space to just your lead vocal and these two close doubles.
I'll keep a light on in your safe place.
You can.
I'll keep it warm for you just in case.
That it just like adds to the power of what you're saying. Like if you listen through the instruments, I actually went through these guitars and cut them up so there's nothing happening in those spots. It's just a hard cut. And it adds to the emotion of it, I think. There's also this weird synth bass that I mixed with Simon. And then, of course, the main thing that's happening in the chorus, while we go from these super sparse drum vibes to the chorus, is just a million hits happening together.
There's so much in there too.
Let's just open the kicks folder. There's a bunch of... That's a more normal kick. Then there's this big like one that smacks you that only really happens at the start. Mm-hmm. So together they're like... And then this boom. And then there's another one that's like that. Like a stomp. So it's just a bunch of sounds added together. There's also a crash happening to add that high end. Here's something someone once said to me that has stuck with me about production. There's something about the brain when you have low thing and high thing going on together, the brain goes, whoa.
There's like a dubstep thing in there too, right?
So this was kind of the thing that I feel like made the chorus really click for us. It's called dubstep, and actually, so I work on some aggressive electronic music sometimes, and my friend sent me a bunch of like these crazy samples. There's aggressive sounds that don't really feel like they'd belong in an Adam Paddock sound, but there was something about this one that just added that little...
Oh my god, that's so aggressive.
Yeah, and then a bit more of a beat comes in the second half of the chorus. The game of that first half of the chorus is like, stop.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Go, stop. And the second time, there's still that, but the beat like pushes it forward.
Yeah.
Like there's less of a stop.
Red light, green light, you know?
Yeah. And then in the second half, we have these huge snare drums that kind of just like, where the stops would be, they come in and add something. There's a lot of everything in this. So, putting it all together.
I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it warm for you just in case. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today. I'll hold you close inside of this place. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today.
Now, in the same way we go into the chorus, we want contrast there. Coming out of the chorus, we also wanted contrast. So this super bright sonic palette that we've created for the chorus with these crazy dubstep things, we kind of yank it all away at the end of the chorus, and everything gets filtered down like you can hear. And
you're gonna make it today.
You can actually see I did this to all the drums. That's like almost an EDM move, which is funny. Here, there is one of my absolute favorite things, if not my favorite things in this production. We listened to about 10 minutes worth of breakbeats and threw a bunch of them together. Then there's this one. And all together, it's just like a totally different drum tone, but for some reason works coming out of the drums of the chorus.
100%, bro.
That's really the main thing that's happening in that one bar between the chorus and the verse.
You got to give him that guitar lick. Woo!
And then Max did that, and it made it.
That lick is so fire.
Which I forgot that was even there. But it just adds to the filtering down and up.
Hey! I know what it's like when the sun has been out, but you just see the shadows. I know how it seems at the bottom of the valley, but the climb is worth more.
So let's start with the drums, because Now there's another loop of hi-hats that this is kind of another groove. There's like 10 different grooves. That's happening. These toms are happening. So the hats
I
kind
know
of,
what it's like
it
when the
hangs for a
sun
moment.
has been out, but you
but then when it drops, besides this bass, which I think is also a Simon one that I just distorted
Yeah, I love that. It's so thick.
with this synth that I did. These drums, I actually played on an electronic drum kit, then put samples on it. And then there's a little delay on it, I believe.
Oh, man, those
gives
drums
some
just fall in
space.
exactly how I wanted them to. Oh my god.
I learned drum programming by dancing along to music and seeing which drum patterns made me want to dance the most, I guess.
You do it
And
well.
I think drums can be expressive. Another thing that a producer once said to me that really stuck with me was when you do a production, you should be able to solo the drums and it should still sound like music. So I had this like fake drum kit, which sounds okay on its own, but the thing that I think really added something was this. I took it and added the exact same pattern with MIDI notes and added this fake kick, is what I called the track, and a snare that was like just my own sample, and their sounds that felt like just a little more in your world. I think these toms are also from that fake one. So that is literally doing the same thing as, but it just makes it feel like it's not trying too hard to be a drum set, though it does have a little bit of that real drum set feel. So that's basically what's happening for the entirety of the second verse drum wise. And then again, most of it drops
you
out.
come around, stand strong as the waters come down. So
There's some cool vocal productions. This is in the second verse, another vocoder moment.
I know how it seems at the bottom of the valley, but the climb is worth more.
Then this is like really prominent. And I love how it comes on the word, like you just see the shadows. It kind of feels evil.
but you
agree, I love
just
that.
see the shadow.
And it's pretty loud in the mix, so you can like really hear it.
I know what it's like when the sun has been out, but you just see the shadows. I know how it seems at the bottom of the valley, but the climb is worth more.
And then we start stacking harmonies.
There's peace when you come around. Stand strong as the water.
You got to be a choir boy for a moment. Yeah, that's about all from the vocal production standpoint, but we're just adding more things. And then we start getting Kevin's keys.
Shadow.
Oh, someone is not being quiet. Is it me? No, it's me. Oh my God. Wait, I almost forgot that this happened, that I sang some background. This is me. I sang like a bunch of harmonies, just rapid fire in, and then put a bunch of crazy things on them and reverse them. So it kind of adds this.
God, that's so cool.
Is filling a lot of the space in this second verse.
I remember disliking it when it was just soloed, and then you put it in context, and I was like, that is an element that we have needed this whole time, and I had no idea.
Yeah, it's interesting that sometimes something that doesn't feel like the right sound alone, when you put it in the mix, it just like adds the right energy. And sometimes it's something that specifically feels a little bit weird in the world of the rest of the song.
Sure.
Because it like counterbalances some of the other elements. Like I think without it, it was feeling a little too dark and like it didn't have enough energy, and that just like that brightness gives a lot of energy.
Yeah, it really took it up a level. I love that.
And then Kevin's keys, there's a bunch of sounds happening throughout. There's just a normal piano, but then something that was actually his idea was to have a prepared piano sound. So like, I don't know if you've ever like used an actual prepared piano. I think this is a John Cage thing, that he would take like pieces of gum and quarters and stick them in piano strings, and it would make this like kind of muted, bright, really cool, almost harpsichordy sound.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
Each of the piano sounds alone, that feels too boring. That feels too twinkly, but together, I feel like it's the right amount of like spaciousness, prettiness. There's also this it's a plugin I had which had like a burning piano sound. I think they recorded a piano like while it was burning or like something like that, and that's happening. And then he's doing more crazy things. He did a great job.
I agree. It is subtle what we kept, but like it is so additive, and now I can't listen to it without the little additions that he added.
Right. Yeah, he's just kind of doing this like 80s chuggy thing for the whole verse, which like keeps the rhythm going. It kind of goes with the drums. He really tapped into like the rhythm of it. Like if you listen to like those are the two most groovy elements in the.
I agree. Oh my god! And then the bass lines when it's like da 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 da.
Second chorus is honestly pretty similar to the first chorus.
So I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it warm for you just in case. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today.
In chorus 2, we have
You're gonna make it today.
it's huge. It's literally, we just shouted it this many times. Really the only thing that changes chorus 1 to chorus 2 is that vocal production. Oh my god, horns actually, I'm gonna jump back for a second.
Yeah, backtrack.
Valley, but the climb is what?
So in the second pre,
Oh yeah.
the trumpets start. And it's just one more thing.
I mean, that's just our classic Kalen, you know?
Hey, I'll hold you close inside of this place. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today.
Then, of course, we get to the bridge. You know, sometimes the key to good pop production is keep it simple, like add 2 elements and make them the right elements. But for the bridge, we were going full maximalism. So the dirt begins actually halfway through the chorus, but staying into the bridge. We've got this dirty element. We've got more synthesizers. Then
Oh, that's sick. That's the baby.
this is Norbert. He helped us with this song.
Hold it up real close to the camera. I want them to see Norbert.
He's a synthesizer and he sounds like that. And it just added to the chaos, the randomness. We couldn't have it too loud. But
It's in there though. If you're looking for it, it's in there.
But yeah, if you're listening to all of these synthesizer things, it just like feels like there's so much inorganic stuff happening that sounds really cool. It sounds like retro synths. And then there's also, you know,
Oh, come on,
typical
Kevin.
piano soloies. And then I think this is Max. And then
That riff is so fun.
Just layers and layers of guitars. So that's all like the rhythm that's creating the chaos in the background, and of course there's the solo elements on top. It's funny, it's like 3 solos going on at once. But then the drums are a big element. It mostly keeps on going like it does in the chorus. But one of the things we did was distort a lot of the elements. We automated a lot of distortion onto things. So like you can hear this as it goes on, adding a more and more like crazy distortion into the second half. Then there's the typicals. But one of the things that really I think added a lot to this bridge was this loop that I found. That is someone playing drums, but I kind of chopped it up, made it twice as fast and then slightly slower, and layered them on top of each other. So it starts off like this, and then it gradually crossfades into this, which is more distorted. And that's up pretty loud, so you can really hear it in the that layered with like this crazy roll that's happening. Besides those, it's really not much more than that. It's still keeping the chorus drums. It adds consistently. See, I feel like rather than what we were trying to do in some of the earlier sections, like going into each of the choruses, rather than create that much contrast, the bridge is supposed to feel like it takes what's already happening in the chorus and continues it and just adds a bit of chaos to it. Then the last element that I think really added to that chaos was the vocal production. We've got you doing this, which doesn't really work with the chords, but for some reason that little bit of dissonance like makes it sound cool. And then I think this was actually me screaming. Crazy tuning, and again, you can hear that it's getting filtered down to feel a little underwatery, and then back up so that it really like adds to that.
That's so cool, dog. So cool.
I think that's you just like doing vocal fry into the mic.
Oh, it is, yeah.
But everything together. And then when we put all of these elements together, then I think something really magical happens when everything cuts out, but we have these reverb tails going into the third chorus. And basically everything cuts out except for a couple guitars and a piano. That's where we yank the rug out from under the track.
I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it warm for you just in case you're gonna make it.
There's no drums there. There's no crazy distortion stuff. It's just the piano, you and a piano, much like at the beginning of the song, but like even more stripped than that. So then when it goes back to the chorus, and there are a couple things that we added in this like final chorus, like the chords change, but sonic palette wise pretty much the same, but because we've like gone on this journey and then come all the way back down, it just like hits really hard. Not much changes besides those chords versus the only element that we added besides that is this other thing Kevin did. There's two things. There's this solo from Max, which is really cool. And then this crazy other prepared piano sound from Kevin. Disney. But putting it all together, it sounds great. Just like the same intensity of a chorus, but I think to really feel it, you have to feel it from.
I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it warm for you just in case you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today. I'll hold you close inside of this place. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today.
We just needed something when you go
A
up,
little bit of grace.
when you hit that high note, there's this other weird echo happening that can't be too loud or it'll sound weird. But when it's just tucked back in the mix, it sounds really, really sick. And then this synth that starts the song also ends the song. And there's a bit of reverb on it just to like make it segue out nicely. You can hear there's actually another filter sweep on it, so it like gets brighter and then just like fades out with the reverb. And there's also just like as a swell, these things that also started the song also are in the end of the song. I think that's basically all of the production elements broke down. I'm really excited with how it turned out, and I think Jack really did a killer job with the mix. I think all the elements were there, and he just made that chorus hit in the way it needed to.
Absolutely. I'm so stoked. We are recording this right now prior to the song coming out, and we have no idea how the song will be doing when I post this, probably a couple weeks after the song comes out.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening if you have. And Alexander, you're the man. I literally am so honored that you would make the song with me.
Of course. If you're down, let's listen to the whole darn song.
I know what it's like to be hoping again in the midst of the rain. I know what it's like to be seen for the skin that you're barely living within. I know how it feels to be closer to darkness than ever before. I know there's a deep end, but it's not that far from the shore. There's peace when you come around, stand strong as the waters come down. So I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it warm for you just in case you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today. I'll hold you close inside of this place. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today. I know what it's like when the sun has been out, but you just see the shadows. I know how it seems at the bottom of the valley, but the climb is worth more. There's peace when you come around, stand strong as the waters come down. So I'll keep a light on in your safe place. I'll keep it just in case. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today. I'll hold you close inside of this place. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it today.
Thank you for tuning in. That's Make It Today by Adam Paddock, produced by Alexander Frieden.